Welcome everybody to another edition of the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, episode 371, Hurting More Than a Wentz Labrum Tear. My name's Matthew Turner, going solo for the moment, don't know if anyone's going to join me, but we're going to crack on anyway. Hope everyone's doing well, had a good week. Everyone in the chat, I hope you're doing well as well. If you've got any questions for me, given that I'm on my own at the moment, if you do want to get them in, would love to hear from you. We are, of course, going to be previewing the Minnesota Vikings game as the Lions come off the bye. Just a little bit of preamble before we start. As usual, please do join our Discord channel. Great place to chat Lions all day long, as well as lots of other sports and life in general. Links also in the audio pod description if you want to join us there. It'd be great. Ant is going to be joining me shortly, which would be great too. College football podcast. Sorry, Ant's going to be joining the show in a minute. That's what I meant. College football podcast literally just aired. So that's on YouTube and Twitch for you to watch back. Right now, of course, there's been lots of movement. LSU have fired Brian Kelly. Lots of seasons are ending right now. Lots are kind of kicking into gear at just the right moment. So, good moment to find out what's going on. Of course, the college playoff rankings are going to be coming out very shortly. So, an exciting time. And people are being announced to the Shrine Bowl too. So, we are in that part of the year. Please do follow our friends at Lions Nation Unite at Herman Moore's project to bring the best in Lions content creators together. And with Twitch-affiliated, YouTube monetized, tip jar down below. You guys know what to do by now. Some news. And, I mean, the only thing we have since the last time we spoke with you all is just the small matter of the re-signing of defensive end Aidan Hutchinson into his fourth season at the moment as the second overall pick in the 2022 season. Signed a 4-year, $180 million extension with $141 million in total guarantees. Interesting wording, total guarantees. Of course, that does not necessarily mean guaranteed signing, which is the really key thing here when it comes to guarantees. But regardless, that is the most guaranteed money for any non-quarterback in NFL history. They called it a mega deal on Twitter, and it certainly is. But it's a mega deal for a mega player. Aidan Hutchinson has potentially been the best player in the league at his position since he came into it, and certainly in the last 3 seasons, of course, when he's been fit, and that has been the problem for him with the broken leg last year. But he had a fantastic rookie season, being one of the best edge rushers in the league, and then really elevated after that. PFF grades, just to tell you, 80.7 in year 1, 91 in year 2, last year's injury cut short year of 280 snaps, 94.9. This year, he's dipped down a little bit to 92.2, but I'm here to tell you that a 92.2 grade ranks him as the joint third best qualifying defender in the league this season, and he's coming off the broken leg. That's unbelievable to come back in that form. The only 2 people who are ranked above him, this is all defenders, not just edge rushers, are Fred Warner, who of course this season is sadly over, he's a 93.2, and Micah Parsons, who's a 92.5. So you're talking smidgens of a point when it comes to PFF grade. But beyond that, let's just think about the player that he is and how important he is to this team and how he sets the standard. He's been a leader on this team since he was a rookie. We were bad when we drafted him. You know, we were drafting second overall for a reason. And he has been the guy which has really driven everything because, you know, every team really needs a quality edge rusher. And just from that standpoint alone, he really has carried it and continues to carry it for us as we do get better on that side of the ball. But he's someone who you can rely on to beat double teams and triple teams all across the show. Super impressive guy, the way he carries himself. He was criticised coming into the league as a sort of super polished media personality. And he's never ceased to be that person. But I don't think he's ever ceased to be a genuine person either. He tells it how it is, speaks his truth, and he really leads the team as a captain. I am and was and continue to be inspired by Aidan Hutchinson. And Ant has just appeared. I hope you're well, man. Going back to back is a hell of a stint, so sorry about that. You know, it's the only time we can do what we can be on, but I hope you're well. I mean, Hutch is back. And I know, coming into the season, You were skeptical about re-signing him too early because of the injury that he was coming off of, and let's see whether he is the player that he was before that. I think even 7 games in, he's proven that he's still that guy.
Yeah, I think the Lions did exactly the right thing here. They didn't rush it. The injury could have been catastrophic. You don't know what a guy's going to be like, but obviously he's come back. He's the type of resilient player that he is. There's not many like him. He's driven. Can tell this his work is never over. He's never, beyond getting better. But the Lions waited. They've seen. They like what they see. There's no obvious drop off. The injuries had no debilitating effects to him. Because when you're giving 45 million a year to a player, you've got to make sure that you're giving it to the right player. And as much as Hutch is the right player, you've got to make sure they're not injury prone. Because we've been bitten by that way too many times in the past. They've waited 7 games. They've seen what they like. They've got it done. And it just goes on the train now of paying your young guys as soon as you're able to, securing their futures, securing the core of the team. And yeah, they've just done a really good job with it. And Hutch has earned it. He's absolutely earned it over the last, 18 months. I know despite the injury, he's just been on a par as one of the best edge rushers in the league, period, in all facets of the game. So tremendous deal. Got it done. With the fifth year, you've got him for 5 years. You can redo him before about 2030. So you've got a lot of flexibility. And hell, if the worst happens and he tails off or injuries do happen, you can get out before then as well. So the deal's structured well for both parties to be able to either him get tons of money or us get out of it a bit earlier if it goes south. So yeah, he's the heart and soul of this team, one of the four pillars, and we've got him for a long time now. And QBs need to be taking out insurance around the league because he's going to try end their lives, and he's going to do it in Honolulu blue, which is what we want.
Absolutely. So the $180 million, the 4-year contract, that is new money. That is new years on top of the 5th-year contract. So he's under contract for this year and the 5th-year option, which is a significant discount to what he's going to be earning afterwards. The new years for 2027 through 2030, he's earned, well, the cap hits are going to be $39 million, $39 million, $59 million, and then $50 million on the final year. The final year has no guarantees. I think the signing bonus was super low on this deal as well for all the guaranteed money. I think it was something like $15 million on the signing bonus, which is a weird one in terms of often the players really want to have a lot of that money up front. But given the scale of the guarantees that he's being given, I don't think he's sweating the signing bonus because he's going to be getting that either way. What that does mean with having a low signing bonus, and this is super low key and never going to happen, right? It makes a contract extremely tradable. Because
Yeah.
there's no dead money. So if you wanted to, in your words, if it goes south, say in 2029 when he's almost getting a cap hit of $60 million, which he's not playing on that deal. But if we kind of go, we're not against moving on, kind of like Khalil Mack with the Raiders or something like that.
Yeah.
You can trade him away for 2 firsts and someone can give him a new deal, and you can just reset. Like, I don't like even pointing that out because he's going to be a career Lion. There's no doubt in my mind he will be, but having flexibility is never bad.
No. And it's not guaranteed till signing either. So, you can trade him before the new league season starts. Yeah, or you can cut him before the new league starts if injuries just happen to come to the fore. And because obviously that's what they're worried about. Because obviously a lot of this is injury guaranteed as well. So he's protecting himself, but at the same point, the Lions can protect themselves if he breaks another leg or something like that, and then it's a bit too much because we've seen one injury he can come back from. Two is a lot more difficult. And he's just obviously one blow away from that happening. So I think the team have just gone, look, we're going to give you a bucket load of money. We will guarantee it for you, but at the same point, we have options if it doesn't quite work the way they want it to. And Hutch is like, yeah, that's fine. So it's kind of the stuff you can get away with when you're a franchise like ours that pays its players early and wants to get the deals done. They don't screw them around. They don't dick them around. They're pro player. So the players are willing to be a bit more flexible with what they'll give and take. So, it works well for everybody. This is the main one done now. So Penny's down, Amon-Ra's down, Hutch is down. Your actual franchise cornerstones are locked in for the long term now, and they're not going anywhere. And as you say, they should all retire here as well. Not one of those three should ever play another snap in another team's colours. And, that's now in our control.
The other thing to mention, which has been brought up off the back of this, is people have talked about the next one on the books. And Jack Campbell is being mentioned as the next guy, which I didn't necessarily expect he would be the next one, but he very much is getting mentioned here. And the reported figures for Jack Campbell, this is the expectation for his contract. And I just want to get your reaction to it, because I'm sure you've seen it. 4 years, $84 million, $21 million APY would put him at the highest paid Mike linebacker in the NFL. Obviously, it hasn't happened, but that's the rumour, and apparently the rumour is the Lions are very keen to get that done as well. Would you back that at that money?
No, I'd rather trade him, to be quite honest. You think of the money that Anzo's on. Anzo's on a snippet of the deal and is, as good as him. Now, obviously, Campbell's probably going to be better when all is said and done, but value-wise, what you get, we're going to have to make some tough decisions about these guys. Obviously, that 2023 class is stacked. Well, the first half of it is going to cost us, probably £500 million when all is said and done. And means we've already got $1 billion invested in the current core already. There's only so much you can invest in it. For as good as Jack has been, I don't think he's a league-leading linebacker. I don't think he's the best linebacker in the NFL, deserving of the biggest contract for a linebacker in the NFL. No, I don't. I would like to think that if it is going to be something like that, the guarantee is going to be quite low on it. And he's going to have to earn a lot of that money. In that regard, yes, I'm not giving him I'm not giving him like 70 million of that guaranteed or something like that. That would just be silly. If he is signed, though, I think that signals the end for Laporta or someone like that. I think if you're gonna do it, positions you don't generally pay that much money for, you can't do tight ends and linebackers at once. You're obviously going to pay Branch the Moon when he's read and done. You're obviously going to pay Gibbs the Moon when all is said and done. You're going to have to make sacrifices somewhere. And this is the broader discussion about, do you pay the whole 23 class? Like, we've got we've got £1 billion invested in a few cornerstone players. You're going to be adding to that. And no matter how you try and money magic your way out of it and what Disney is, you're going to come to the problem where, and I mentioned this in Discord earlier, you're going to have an imbalance on the team. You're going to have so many league-leading youngsters on league-leading deals eating up so much of your cap that you can't balance it out with vets. Amik Robertson, you're going to struggle to pay this year. DJ Reedy, you're going to struggle to pay this year. Alex Anzalone, you're going to struggle to pay this year. You want veterans of that caliber on your team to go with all these young guys. You're going to have to go bargain shopping. You're going to have to rely on your pro scouting department to be absolutely out of this world, continuing to find rookies and supplement this team and try and work through the free agency bargain bins like we have done. But for me, you've got to find the right balance. And we're too much balanced in favour of just giving the world to the rookies right now. We've got to be careful to make sure we can supplement the rest of the team well enough going forward. And, that's going to be the issue. The only other way you can do this is you start offloading some of the higher paid players like Decker, etc. You start getting those deals off the books so you can sort of replace them and do it that way. But again, you're losing vets and you've got to replace them. The only saving grace for us is the 24 class doesn't look like it's going to cost us a penny at the moment. So we're going to get some relief when these 4 deals are done, because no one from 24 is getting a league leading deal or anything like that. But yeah, I think that's too much money for Campbell, me personally. I would be looking for less.
I think Campbell is going to be someone who we pay after the 5th year option. I think there's no doubt he's going to get the 5th year option. He's only in his 3rd season right now, so there's still another 2.5 seasons of control we have on him.
You've got to.
I don't think like everyone has said though, you cannot tag him because the tag includes off-ball linebackers like edge rushers, and that tag is at an untenable amount. It's above the amount I just quoted in terms of APY. So you can't tag Campbell, but you can use him for 5 years. And then if he wants to test free agency, that's up to him. But I think we'd be competitive in trying to re-sign him. The other option is that you go the way of someone like Roquan Smith, who was traded for a mid to lower level linebacker and a second and a fifth round pick. But Roquan Smith is, well, he's the second best linebacker in the league behind Fred Warner, in my opinion, still. But he's also the most recent example I can think of a linebacker in Campbell's position being traded. And that's the sort of compensation you're looking at. You know, Roquan, I know that Roquan was a bit of a special animal because the Bears kind of wanted rid in a weird way. I don't really understand what happened still.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you'd hope to get back from Campbell. The problem for me with Campbell, the reason why I think out of all the people you listed, so Gibbs, Branch, Laporta, Campbell, I think Campbell's my highest priority. He is playing maybe the hardest position in football outside of quarterback. Linebacker is insanely hard. But he is doing it, this season alone, he is doing it at a top 10 linebacker level. Now, I'm not going to call him a top 10 linebacker because I do think you need to show it over multiple seasons, but that's what next year's for. If he does do it through year 4 at this level, because he's the green dot, because he's tying everything together, because he's kind of the enforcer in the middle, he allows you to do so much else going on. Like, Hutch is a person who you can just, like, leave to it and he's going to go and wreck games. But Kansas City showed, you know, if linebackers go to pot, you're buggered. You need someone like Campbell doling out the instructions, seeing things, communicating clearly. I think the reason Tampa Bay happened is because of Jack Campbell in that middle, controlling everything. So Laporta doesn't do that for the offense. Gibbs is maybe the more effective player out of those 4, but I don't think he does that for the offense necessarily. Branch might be my lowest priority of the 4, even though he's my favourite player of the 4, and I have his jersey. But Campbell, I think, would be my number 1. Okay, for you, in terms of those 4 players, who's your priority for re-signing? How do you list them? How do you rank them? I think I would have Campbell, Gibbs, Laporta, Branch.
See, I'm the opposite. I think Branch is incredibly important to this team, despite his issues and the bits he's had. I think that, you know, the amount that he can do is so valuable to you. And I think that when this is out his system, because he's again, I keep saying he's like the Cam Chancellor-ish type, where he's very edgy. He's got sort of an angry bit to him, but on his day, he will change a game for you. And, you know, he will have that big Super Bowl winning moment, which is about him. I would put Branch right up there, but for me, they're all important. Like, it's very tough. It's tough to do this without ranking positional value and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I'd have Laporta at the bottom. I don't think, you know, everyone says you don't pay tight ends. We can't make an exception just because we've drafted Sam and he's one of our own. And you know, it's tough. I'm not paying him league leading tight end money, quite frankly. Sorry, Gibbs is transcendent. Gibbs is absolutely transcendent. And yes, running backs have lives, and you know you don't traditionally pay them and whatnot, but he's a transcendent talent, a game-changing talent who can beat anybody on his day and do what you want him to. So
he's Alvin Kamara of 7 years ago, 8 years
Yeah.
ago, who completely breaks
And
the
I
game.
think giving Gibbs will get one contract. That is also the other thing. I think you give him one major contract, and then after that, it comes down. It doesn't keep going up, which is a benefit to having him here as well. But I think, you know, Branch and Gibbs are in equal measure. What I do, then it would probably be Campbell, then it would probably be Laporta. But the team love them all. The team will want to sign them all and do whatever they could with them. But you're going to have to start utilizing 5th years, and it depends how much you're going to sacrifice in the vet room to bring them back. Because you've got to be careful. We've seen what's happened with the 49ers tying up so much money in a core. and not being able to supplement around it. And when the core gets hurt, your entire team becomes bad really quickly. Now, our team has drafted well and does continue to do well, so you would like to think, but you've seen a possibility of what can happen if you go too far in one direction. So,
Mm.
well, I'm
Yeah.
not paying Campbell league leading money. I'm just not. I mean, you said the Chiefs define what it means on linebacker. They got what, Chanel in the third round. They got Bolton in the second round. You can get an elite set of linebackers without paying the first round pick. Like he's a first round pick. He should be this good. He's not flashed in coverage like we wanted him to just yet, which was the selling point behind him was his coverage stuff as well. He's not as good. He's not ready to replace Ancelotti in that facet yet. So, guys like Warner and that are all round dangerous. Jack's not all round dangerous yet. He's getting elite at what he's good at, but there's certain bits of his game which are keeping him down. So
Mm.
I want him back, but I'm not giving him a league leading deal. You can
Yeah.
only give so many league leading deals. You can't have the league leading wide receiver, tackle, safety, corner, all these guys. You just can't. It's not feasible going forward.
Nick Bolton, 3 years, 45 million, signed this off season. Leo Chanel is still on his rookie contract because he's in the same draft class as Aidan Hutchinson. His rookie contract pays him 4 years, 5 million.
Stupid value.
We
I mean,
loved
what?
him in the process as well. I'm going to beat Ash with this stick until the day I die because I was so on Chanel's tape.
It's the
in
point.
college.
It's the point. The linebackers are good and back in today too. So if you want to redraft Jack's replace, I mean, obviously you don't because you've designed him as the leader of your defense, but you've got to watch what you're paying him. I mean, what they're suggesting 21 million a year. What Bolton is on, like Nick Bolton has won Super Bowls. He is legitimately a good player for that team. 15 million is palatable.
Yeah, it is.
Give him 3 years, 45, and add it to a fifth year deal. Give him 4 years. They are prone to injury more than anybody.
Yeah. They're up there
And
with running backs.
exactly. So people go, you can't pay running backs because they're hurt all the time, but linebacker applies as well.
Yeah.
So any argument you use against Gibbs, and nor should we either. He's one of a kind, but Gibbs is going to break pretty much every Lions rushing record going that's not held by Barry in terms of how quick he does it. We will never.
All right. Let's talk Minnesota Vikings, shall we? I know that you have had some fun on Twitter with this one. The Vikings come into this matchup 3-4. They've not had their bye yet. Their expected wins is 3.3, so apparently they've been slightly unlucky up to this point. They have had an up and down season with back-to-back losses. Oh, so they have had their bye. I'm being an idiot. Sorry, 3-4. They've had their bye. They beat the Bears at Chicago, lost to the Falcons, beat the Bengals, lost to the Steelers in Pittsburgh, beat the Cleveland Browns just, and then lost after the bye at home to the Eagles, and then away at the LA Chargers. Blown away by the LA Chargers too, I might add. This game is a 1 o'clock kickoff for the Detroit Lions, which marks the third such game, and there will be 3 after this one. Just 6 of their games are slated to be 1 o'clock kickoffs this season. So, yeah, in-division matchup with the Vikings, it's not that important, really. Anyway, betting for this game. Minnesota are 15-4 to win the game on the money line. That's plus 375. Detroit are 5-1 on. That's minus 400. The Lions are 8.5 point favourites. The over-under is 48. In terms of the injury report, Kirby Joseph and Craig Reynolds have not been practicing so far this week. Limited in practice, Avonte Maddox, Malcolm Rodriguez, Daniel Thomas, and Sione Vaki. And in full practice, Terrion Arnold is back in full practice all this week. Taylor Decker also full practice today, Thursday for the time of recording. And Al-Qadim Mohammed also full practice. So good news for those 3 key members of this team. For Minnesota, tight end Josh Oliver has already been ruled out of this game by the coaching staff. Other players who did not practice, so limited in practice, tackle Brian O'Neill, cornerback Isaiah Rodgers, who's had a monster year, and then full practice, full quarterback JJ McCarthy, who really has to play in this game, and outside linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel. This team has been beset with injuries so far this season. They've just put former starting quarterback Carson Wentz on IR with a torn labrum. Chandler, can't bloody speak so more, centre Zeke Correll, and on the PUP is also the rookie Gavin Bartholomew. Looking at their starting lineup, therefore, they are scraping the barrel a little bit in places. The starter, should he play, at quarterback is JJ McCarthy, and he's backed up by the rookie Max Brosmer, who actually hasn't looked awful in relief this season in limited snaps. The running backs, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, and Xavier Scott. Fullback CJ Ham, but it doesn't look like he'll be able to go. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison is back, and Jalen Naylor, backed up by Ty Felton, Miles Price, and Adam Thielen. Tight ends, TJ Hawkinson, backed up by Ben Urashek and Ben Sims. And then the offensive line, Darasaur at left tackle if he goes, Donovan Jackson, Blake Brandell, Will Fries, and Brian O'Neill if he goes. They're backed up by Justin School, Joe Huber, Michael Jurgens, and Walter Rouse, who had a really rough day of it last week when O'Neill could not play. And of course, if Darasaur does not go, then Justin School will be left tackle. I don't care who you put up at edge against those two advantage lines. On the defense, starting for this team, in their 3-4, the defensive tackles, or the down linemen, I should say, Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, and Jalen Redmond, backed up by Elijah Williams, Levi Drake Rodriguez, and Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. Outside linebackers, Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel, backed up by Bo Richter, Dallas Turner, Chaz Chambliss, and Tyler Batty, who someone of this duo was a particular favourite off of in the draft process this season, just gone. Inside linebackers, Eric Wilson and Blake Cashman, backed up by Austin Keys and another draft crusher of this show, Ivan Pace Jr. Nichols, Josh Metellus, outside cornerbacks, Isaiah Rogers and Byron Murphy, backed up by Jeff Okuda and Dwight McLaughlin, who I loved a couple of seasons ago in the draft process. And then safeties, Harrison Smith and Theo Jackson, backed up by Tavir Thomas and Jay Ward. The punter is Ryan Wright. The kicker is Will Ricard. And the long snapper is Andrew DePaola, who, of course, is the most important player on the team. Hey, I've got to throw a long snapper joke in at some point, right? Otherwise, it's just one-way traffic. And this team is not a bad team when it comes to personnel. I don't believe they're a bad team. They're 3-4. They're reeling off the back of 2 losses. We're going to talk about the Chargers game, that they got their ass handed to them. They've had really bad injuries, no starting quarterback for a while. Both tackles have been injured in some capacity. Leading outside linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel, who's been such a good player for them in the last couple of seasons, has been out for most of this year. It kind of just hasn't worked, and I can't work out what's going on with them, because they've had so many injuries, not unlike other teams, of course, but in really key spots. But there's something about them this season that doesn't appear to me to be cohesive. They've regressed in quite a notable way, I think, on both sides of the ball.
In layman's terms, they're shite. That's what they are. And I would put my first, order of merit forward. Look at their schedule and what they've had. The bad news bears, they were barely able to beat. They were soundly beaten by a split personality Falcons side. Yes, they beat a Bengals team with no Joe Burrow in it. Everyone can do that. And then, you lose to the Steelers, who have the worst defense in the league. You can barely beat the Cleveland Browns, who have half their team are injured and in the masseuse parlor getting done up on Chargers. And then you come up against good teams like the Eagles and Chargers. Chargers just completely blew them out of the water. The Eagles, yes, they were competitive for the most part, but their schedule's been rotten. Like, I would kill for that sort of schedule they had. And their record, the way it is, the way they've played, even with the injuries, just suggests to me this is not a good football team. And they've got lucky. Like, the games they've won, they got the Bears first up. Yeah, well done. They got the Bengals without the superstar quarterback. Well done. You've beaten the Browns. Well done. Like, barely. They're not impressive wins. And the only sort of loss in there that you think, yeah, okay, that's fine, is that Eagles game. I don't count the Steelers. I think Steelers are rubbish as well. So, the team is not good. Yes, you've had to juggle your quarterbacks round and that. No, we had an entire injury prone team this year. We had an entire defense on IR, and we were still able to win games because we had that skill and quality about us. They've had Justin Jefferson all year. They've had Addison for most of it after his DUI suspension. They've had their playmakers. They've had Jordan Mason, the running back, most of the year. They've had these guys, and they've just not done well with them. I don't think they're a good team. I think we broke them at the back end of last year and exposed them for what they are. They are miles off the hunt now. They're probably going to be bottom of the NFC North this year, comfortably when all is said and done. And we are. There are no guaranteed wins in the NFL, but in terms of how we match up against them, they are the closest thing to a guaranteed win we will ever have because of the way we play and the way we play. They're set up to play right into the way we want them to, and we've got them like putty. Every time we play them, we hear about Flores's blitz defense and how dangerous it is, how it kills quarterbacks. Bitch, please, we've got a good offensive line which can stymie it, and we've got so many good playmakers that we can get the ball out of the hands quick and stymie that pass rush and kill it. Amon-Ra St. Brown owns that defense. He's retired half their DBs since he came into the league. Then defensively, they can never run the football on us. So their quarterback stat pads against us gets 400 yards, looks really impressive, but no time of possession, and may get a few touchdowns, but ultimately, 5 times in a row you've put 30 down on this team, and I don't expect that record to drop. I'm disappointed with them. Adolfo Mensa's gone all in on some of the signings they've made and that, and I just think they look a bad football team, and I'm not remotely concerned about them.
They're disjointed. They're not playing as a team, generally
No.
speaking. The offensive line is in disarray. And, I mean, we'll come on to the Chargers game in more detail, but the quarterback's running for his life. The running game can't get going because they're being met in the backfield all too often. And, their defense gets after people. Jonathan Grenard is still a hugely impressive player on his own. And, man, I would like him on the Lions. Wouldn't fit our system. But individual players are still having good seasons on their team, but that a team does not make. It's broken in a really bad way. And when it came out, and of course this is just rumours, but we're coming up to the trade deadline on Tuesday, there are rumours amok that they are kicking the can on the season if they lose this game, and they are going to explore trading players. And I think it says a lot, because if you have a look at the rest of the division, they ain't getting into the playoffs, I think, if they lose this one. They're going to be too far behind the 8 ball against all 3 of the other NFC North teams to try and even get a wildcard spot. And they're facing most of them still coming up. So, as well as facing at Commanders, at Eagles, a Giants team, which is going to be potentially competitive against the Ravens. It's not good. It's not good at all.
Who does Brad love to do business with in this league more than anybody when it comes
Who does Brad like to
trade
more
assets
in this league? Sorry, yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. Like people say, we can destroy them this week and get them to sell. Brad and Kwesi do business quite often.
Yeah, they do.
Ever since they started here, ever since going back to, did TJ move when Kwesi was there? I think he did.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Or even going back to Hawkinson, they've done deals, they've done trades in the draft. They are not scared to do business with one another. So if you can push some of these better Vikings players into your lap with a divisional rival, we've had Monty from Chicago, it's not a gone thing anymore. So you're doing yourself a lot of justice here, but there's just so many things here that play into what we're doing. You go into detail later, but we're 5th in the league in takeaways. Who's 2nd in the league in turnovers? They are. They turn the ball over a lot. We get turnovers a lot. Like, it's stacked up for where they can't deal with our grit. And that sounds like an obnoxious thing to say, but they can't play as hard as we do. We beat them twice last year with no defense at all, and they seem to take victory laps going, Nick, what's his face? Nick Gubbins threw for 400 yards on you. We got no defenders. You still lost. We break them. Every single time we play them, we break them.
Yeah.
Whether it's theirs, whether it's at ours. This is a psychology thing, and the way they're battered and bruised at this moment in time, we're rested, ready to go. Like when Bane breaks Batman's spine, or like nearly does. It's going to be something along those lines.
I misspoke when I was looking at the schedule. I was looking at ours, not theirs. But obviously at
They play the
Lions, they
Ravens
play the
next week
Ravens
after
next.
us.
And the Ravens are a team that are desperate for wins and probably are a good enough team to beat that team. So they got that. And then the Bears are going to be desperate after that. So they got Lions, Ravens, Bears, and then at Packers, at Seahawks, Commanders, at Cowboys, at Giants, Lions, Packers. I'm struggling to see 3 wins here. This could easily be a 5-win Vikings team when it's all said and done.
It is. If JJ's hurt, you don't want to rush him back. But at the same point, you'd start to have concerns about JJ McCarthy. He's not playing. He's not healthy. The brittleness about him, he's nothing like Goff. If I was a Vikings fan, they all sort of hail him as soon as JJ's back and healthy, it's going to be great. But what have we seen from him in the league to suggest he's going to be a savior for them? If you theoretically, with the Vikings, and this is theory because they won't, but if you theoretically had the number 1 pick next year as the Minnesota Vikings, and there's some star quarterback there, again, there's not going to be, but theoretically, if there was, are you not picking him, even with JJ there? You're going to have an Arizona Cardinals-esque scenario with Rosen and Murray. I don't think they would pass up on a quarterback in that scenario. I don't think he's shown anything so far.
Yeah.
It's, so the season is close to ending. Like, they're not going to do well against us or the Packers. The Bears seem to have surpassed them. You've got to rebuild.
For once, the Bears won the off-season because they're 3rd in the division. Congratulations to the Chicago Bears. Let's talk some more stats, shall we, on both sides of the ball. PFF has this as the 22nd overall team, offense 27th, defense 22nd, special teams 6th on the Chargers form. Not inclined to say that that's where they're at right now on special teams, by the way. DVOA says they're 26th overall. EPA has them 23rd overall, 28th on offense, 6th on defense compared to 22nd by PFF. So the advanced metrics are really differing here on how good this team is on that side of the ball. Quarterback JJ McCarthy, he has only played a handful of games this season before injury. He's 1-1 in his 2 starts. In those 2 games, rushing, he was 7 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown on the ground, 24 of 41. That's 59% completion, 301 yards, 301 yards in 2 games, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, passer rating of 67.2, QBR of 21.5. Safe to say those 2 starts did not go well for him. PFF grade of 55.5. Jordan Mason's been the lead back, although I will say that has because Aaron Jones has been injured for most of the season. Aaron Jones does appear to be a bit more of the lead back now. He's back from injury. But Mason, 88 carries, 383 yards, 4.4 yards a carry and 4 touchdowns, 10 of 12 for 37 through the air, 68.4 PFF grade. Jefferson at wide receiver, still one of the league's best, but wasted in this offense now. Should trade him away, frankly. 41 of 63, 602 yards, 14.7 yards per catch and a touchdown, PFF grade of 80.7. Had a few catches in the Chargers game that saved them from having more turnovers and more picks by gonna go and get the ball and he's gonna beat people because he is that good even if the quarterback is really bad. TJ Hockenson, the lead tight end, although massively underutilized in this offense. I don't think Wentz particularly likes tight ends and McCarthy has not got on the same page as him yet. He's 27 of 36 for 222, 8.2 yards per catch, and a touchdown, PFF grade of 62.6. Other good grades in the right tackle, Brian O'Neill, 74.7. Other bad grades in there. The starting center with Ryan Kelly out, Blake Brandel, 53.8. They're 27th on 3rd down, 13th on 4th down, and 12 touchdowns in 22 red zone trips, 54.5%, 20th in the NFL. On defense, Jonathan Allen is the leading defensive tackle. He's got a fumble recovery, 1.5 sacks, 29 tackles, 3 TFLs, 4 quarterback hits, PFF grade of 55. Jonathan Grenard is the best outside linebacker they have. 2 passes defended, a forced fumble, 2 sacks. Only 2 sacks. 24 tackles, 9 TFLs, 9 quarterback hits, PFF grade of 77.9. He's always in the backfield, though. His get off of the line is exceptional. Inside linebacker, Eric Wilson is the best of them. 2 forced fumbles, 1.5 sacks, 51 tackles, 4 TFLs, a quarterback hit, and a PFF grade of 57. And then Isaiah Rodgers, I said he's had a barnstorm of a year. It's been up and down, but he had that one game which I think got a 99.9 PFF grade because he had 2 defensive touchdowns in it. This season, 1 interception, which went for a touchdown, 2 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery, which went for a touchdown. 26 tackles, 2 TFLs, overall PFF grade of 69.8. He did and does get burned a lot in coverage, not unlike some of the Cowboys linebackers that we've seen over the years. There's very kind of boom or bust, I think. The best safety and Swiss Army knife, Josh Metellus, 2 interceptions, 4 passes defended, half a sack, 41 tackles, a TFL, and a quarterback hit, PFF grade of 63.2. Downturn year for him, but he will line up anywhere, and I mean anywhere. Other good grades in this team. Rotational D tackle, Redmond is a 76, but other bad grades in there. Former first round pick, Dallas Turner, 55.5. Starting cornerback 1, Byron Murphy, 53. Starting defensive tackle, Javon Hargrave, 52. Who saw that going badly? And then rotational linebacker, who's kind of lost his place in the starting lineup this season, Ivan Pace, 45. He has not been great. I've been talking to some fans of the Vikings on this. Apparently, he's struggling with the physicality of the league this season, which just seems a bit weird considering he's a physical beast despite his size. But I have faith that he's going to rebound to the former form that we've seen of him. This defense, 9th on 3rd down, 20th on 4th down, 9th in the red zone, only allowing 11 touchdowns in 21 trips. But I will say, there's only been 21 trips to the red zone against in that defense. It's because they give up a lot of points outside of the bloody red zone, which is not ideal. Just for context, the Lions have been in the red zone on offense about 30 times compared to the Vikings only conceding 21 red zone trips. So big difference there. And I'm going to come on to the Chargers game shortly, but I think this is one of those where actually the PFF grades do tell a bit of a story here. They do kind of bear out the eye test, you know. Isolated players are having good games. If you have a look at the overall picture of this team, it's underperforming massively. They're not playing for each other. Rodgers had that one massive game, but just disappointing. You have a look at Byron Murphy and he's playing crap, and Hargrave's playing crap, and Dallas Turner's playing crap. They're not developing their talent. The free agency acquisitions haven't exactly worked out. Jonathan Allen's a 55 point as well. Like the team lacks a spine on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's not usually one for me to use stats and stuff like that. I like to use the eye test, etc. But there's one thing that really stands out. Start offensively first. Let's start there. What makes a good offense? It is balance. The Lions balanced between the run and the pass. This year so far, receiving yards for Minnesota, 1,591. Rushing yards for Minnesota, 650. Time of possession, 24th in the NFL. So, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to know what's going wrong here. You know, the defense that's got a lot of good players on it, potentially, getting gassed. It's always losing time of possession generally. I mean, that says everything to you if you're looking for a matchup here. It's what they've been in recent years, right? I said earlier, their QBs seem to stat pad on us through the air, but they get nothing on the ground. You score quick, you beat them down, on time of possession, long sustained drives, beat them up, and you outscore them. I mean, does that not to you seem like that's the big standout thing for them there? They can't run the football, so they have to throw it all the time.
Yeah. I totally agree. For context, the Lions have 936 rushing yards and 1,634 passing yards. 207 rushing attempts and 195 passing attempts. Actually, more rushing attempts than passing attempts for the Lions, and it's a lot closer in yards. The stat that really jumps out to me with this Vikings team is the 30th in turnovers offensively, they're 30th in plays per drive. That really tells you how efficient they are or not. And I mean, That ain't cutting the mustard, especially for a team that's built on the Shanahan system, Kevin O'Connell. That is all about like outside zones, set up play action pass, which necessarily is about efficiency, keeping the chains moving. You would expect them to have quite low yards per play, but quite a high number of plays per drive. It's all gone to pieces.
Yeah, no running game means that happens. So you're getting big chunk plays in the pass game. You're getting big, and that's mainly down to the skill of your receiver. It's not necessarily because you've got a great quarterback, as we've seen. They've trotted some no men out over the years. It's that they've got the best receiver in the NFL on their roster, and he's got a decent complement to go with him. So they make these big chunk splash plays, but going 2 plays, 80 yards and scoring a touchdown is nothing if the opposition goes 15 plays, 80 yards, scores a touchdown over 7 minutes and absolutely kills you. And that's what we, the Lions, have done over the years. Sustained drives against them. Their DTs have usually been a weakness. They love to blitz a passer. They've got no backbone when it comes to stopping the run whatsoever. But for me, on the offense, that's immediately that stands out. It's just such a disposition in your rushing attack and your passing attack, which just means you can't be balanced. And again, we've seen this for the last week. It feels like they've been the same team we've played since Dan got here, basically. They love the fancy passing game. They don't really run the ball. They love to blitz on defense when you're behind the sticks. And when some teams can't run on them and they are put into long passing situations, it looks tremendous and all the fancy packages looks great. We don't have that issue with them, do we? We run the ball on them consistently, get to short yardage situations, and we let Amon-Ra tear them to pieces. I'm not seeing anything new. I guess what I'm saying is offensively, I don't see anything new I've not seen in the last few years. I'm sure you would agree with that.
I agree, definitely. This is a weird team otherwise on defense. I've just seen some stats on Sharp Football Analysis. Blitz rate, you said they like to bring pressure, so I just thought I'd check. Number one in the NFL on blitz rate, 44% blitz rate. Average. Unbelievable. And it's because they can't get pressure without it. Their defensive tackles are awful, so they have to bring their linebackers to be in it as well. They're also second in heavy box rate because they need that blitzing pressure to come from that position, which means they are leaving their defensive backs on an island. Of course, that heavy box rate, that blitz rate means that this is one of the lowest sub-package rate teams. They're only in the sub-package 44% of the time. So they go heavy, they blitz out of that look, which means that if your receivers get free quickly, one-on-one, those guys are breaking it for big yardage and moving the chains quickly. I know we haven't really talked about this matchup yet, but perfect time to move into it. What do the Lions receivers do really well, especially Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown? They win early. And what can they not do? Defend speed. So maybe this is a JMO game, but it really depends on how our pass blocking holds up. We've not been particularly great at it. Can we pick up the blitzes that are coming forward? It's a big question in this game, but I think we can win without that. If we get that too, this could be a massive blowout.
So what was we had the stat put in we had the stat put in earlier, didn't we? Someone put it in the thing. Minnesota surrendered 10 completions on 13 deep attempts this year for 363 yards and 4 touchdowns. That kind of goes to show that defense is there to be had. But, Amon-Ra is the key here. So his last 4 games against the Vikings, this is over 2 years. This is not a small period. 12 receptions, 106 yards, touchdown. 7 receptions, 144 yards, touchdown. 8 receptions, 112 yards, touchdown. 6 receptions, 77 yards. He's gone for, I think it's something like 731 yards over 62 catches, 4 touchdowns in 8 games against them. He's averaging nearly 100 yards per game against this team. Why? As you just said, they're loading up the box against the run, they're trying to sell out against it, and they're putting not very talented DBs on the best technical route runner in the league, or one of the best of, and he just absolutely has his way with them. I would guess that Laporta's numbers are pretty good against the Vikings as well because you're using that middle field there. But Amon-Ra's been the killer. He always has. He's always been the key to unlock this Vikings defense because they can't deal with him. It's weird how the Vikings have put so little into their. I know they've drafted lots of DBs and that high, but they've had no success with them and they've never kept going back to it. Because as you said, when you're using a load of box all the time, you've got to have talented secondary players to hold up against it, and they don't. Amon-Ra has literally sent so many of these guys to retirement or to the free agent market because he's destroyed careers. And that's what we do against it. And schematically, it's just they're the best type of defense for us to face.
Yeah, they are.
They really are. And Flores' things, like, I don't get the love behind this scheme. It's so one-dimensional. Like, yes, you can come up with fancy blitz packages and stuff like that, but like you said, nearly 1 in 2 snaps is a blitz. There's nothing unique about that. There's nothing correct. It's just you trying to manufacture pressures on guys. And we've seen teams get away with it this year. We've seen teams adapt to it. They've seen what we do against it. And when it doesn't work, when you've got a good running attack, I mean, what? The Chargers, Kamani Vidal was going at like 5.5 yards per carry. Like he was moving those chains, just completely nullified any threat. And we'll talk about the game in a minute, but that was one of the reasons. Gibbs and Monty can go at 5.5 yards per carry. You get a running back over 5 yards per carry against these guys, you effectively render anything they do on defense null and void. You've got to have turnover games where they're winning, and they've got a -4 turnover differential. They cough the ball up so many times, give short fields, you can have your way with them. Again, that's why I rinse and repeat. We could have this game 12 months ago. This is the exact same team we're playing. It's no better. It's no different. They're not offering anything we've not seen before. And that's on coaching. Like, it's just doesn't, it refuses to adapt.
Yeah, I agree. The thing about Flores' scheme is there's no modicum of flaw to that. It's a boom or bust scheme. It works exceptionally well sometimes, and when it does, it blows teams away because they can't handle it. But it leaves them so isolated that when a team does handle it well, the defense gets eviscerated. And what it means is this isn't a team built for January. Flores' scheme is not built for January, going up against good teams with good offensive lines that can actually handle this shit. Now, it presents a potential issue for the Lions. I would say that for the newbies in the middle, that their strength is in run blocking. I think that they found that an easier part of their game. I think they've been terrifically reliable with it. I think the pass blocking has been a work in progress, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I think that it is something which week to week is better or worse, and I think in some respects has been exceptionally good in some reps and exceptionally bad in others. So I expect the Vikings to get home on several sacks. Like, I think you kind of have to expect that from this team. And yet, when it is picked up, does Goff just hit the deep ball that you need him to, or do you keep the chains moving? And I definitely think the answer to that is yes. I will say, so let's briefly move on to the Chargers before we talk a little bit more about this matchup for us specifically. Chargers 137-10. It could have been a very, very different game when a pick six was for the Vikings was called back because he didn't quite catch the ball. If the Vikings go up early because of a Herbert interception, maybe it's a different game. But that's called back, and from then on, it's all Chargers. For the Vikings, their offensive line struggles in all facets of the game. Walter Rouse, in at right tackle for Brian O'Neill, has a terrible game against, especially Odafe Owe, who had an incredible game on that side of the ball. Stunts continue to kill him. The Lions run stunts at the lowest percentage in the NFL, which I think actually is a bit of a mistake, because I think we'd be pretty good at it if we actually tried it. But the Chargers were running loads of stunts, and the Vikings offensive line could not handle it at all. Christian Darrisaw left the game in the second quarter. Run game was overwhelmed, being hit consistently in the backfield. I will say that when they were in rhythm, when Wentz had like a two-step drop and ripped it, it looked good. I think that when everything seemed to be kind of in structure, it was being operated fine. But as soon as the coverage was just slightly good, it got off rhythm so quickly. And they were getting flags to bail them out of certain situations, which were quite fortuitous. The Chargers' defensive line were winning all the one-on-ones up front, which just made it so hard for Wentz to basically do anything. The one bright spark was the RPO touchdown to Jordan Addison, which looks incredibly easy, which proves that they were able to do it on isolated reps, but drop back passing was just absolutely a disaster. And actually, I do wonder whether they'll have seen what happened to them there and kind of go, you know what, we can go RPO game. Because at least that simplifies things on offense. It just kind of takes away from how good their receivers are because they'll have no drop back passing game. But you've kind of got to make it a bit easier for JJ McCarthy, I think. On defense, I mentioned the Rodgers pick six, which was overturned to incomplete. They forced a couple of really bad throws by Herbert because they had unblocked blitzers and Herbert just panicked and threw really poor passes. But otherwise, Herbert was great scrambling in this game to get out of things. Dallas Turner got away with a quarterback headbutt. It was a roughing the passer penalty. I don't think he's going to get banned, but it was egregiously bad. Grenard was in the backfield all day. They didn't make any difference at all. The Chargers' offensive line, for all the injuries they've had, handled the Vikings' pass rush pretty well, I thought. And like we've been talking about, the DBs were put on an island. Gadsden, the rookie tight end, had himself an incredible day. And then Lad McConkey just killed Rodgers on the outside for a deep touchdown. Both sides of the ball struggled. And then just briefly, on special teams, they had holding on a kickoff return to start the game, an illegal formation on the next kickoff return. Ryan Wright's punts weren't exactly great. Ricard is an incredible kicker, but he missed a fire drill field goal. And then another kickoff return had a holding penalty. So 3 separate flags on 3 separate kickoff returns, which leads me to think this special teams unit isn't even as good as advertised. And all 3 phases blown away.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, when you can't play complementary football, it's just a problem. Again, you've got flashy stats in there. The defense had 28 pressures on the day. They got lots of pressures, but they didn't make the most of those pressures. Just 2 sacks out of it. You're not converting very well. For a defense that blitz, you need to convert those numbers much higher. And again, Kamani Vidal running at the rate he is, getting a first down every 2 runs on average. Yeah, you get lots of pressures on the QB, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. 28 pressures and you give up 38 points still. Just shows that your system's not working, and a good passer like Herbert, who's got technical route runners who can get in space quick like McConkey, will just pick you apart. Yeah, you might get a few hits or something like that afterwards, but if you're not affecting the ball in his hands, then you're just basically null and void. And then offensively, they were just atrocious. They gave up 30 pressures, 5 sacks, 6 QB hits, coming from all over, but particularly from the interior. And this is where it's going to be a problem for them. Now we've got to lean back and we're a danger on the interior again. Our offensive line is healthy, fully healthy for the most part. I don't include sick note in that. AQM is playing at a great rate at the minute. Reader has now been freed up more with a lean bin here. Hutch is just going to murder anyone he's up against because both tackles are banged up. And even if both tackles play, they ain't playing 100%. They're not healthy. We just match up so well against them here, and they're just not going to be able to withstand it. They can't run on us. Jordan Mason won't do that well against us, I don't think, because the team can't run block that well. We're halfway in the season. They've not even got 700 rushing yards yet. It's poor from them. They're running at 4 yards per clip. You watch that game and you think we've got every ingredient needed to beat this team, and the Chargers showed you how it's done. You put away a poor team like this, let them have their cake and eat it, getting pressure-wise. Just be lethal against them, and just be technical, and you'll beat the razzle-dazzle that they bring to you. So, the Chargers game planned it very well, and those Vikings trenches, they're in trouble. They just don't look dominant at all. And they're not playing complementary ball. even when the defense does get a stop and makes pressure, its offense is not backing it up. So, it's the only thing they can really hurt you with is if they can hold up in pass protection and they can get their receivers going. But again, the time of possession stuff is a problem for them. They lose it against us, they're going to lose just because of the way we play. So, I thought the Chargers are very impressive, and they just worked out that team to a T, and more teams need to do that. I think we'll take a lot of what the Chargers did and use it against the Vikings as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
we've got every weapon we need to beat them. We've done it 5 times in a row, dropped 30 on them every single time. Like, we consistently know more than any other team in this league how to score lots of points on the Vikings, and they just can't hang with us.
It's going to be a really interesting game to pick out specific players to have really important roles. I think Aleem is exactly one to point out, as you've mentioned. I think one that's going to be quite underrated in this game, assuming that we do go up against JJ McCarthy, because he has mobility and he does like to use it. Even though I really liked him in the draft process, he's a bit of a limited passer. I think that Derek Barnes is going to be really key in this game. With the amount that we play base, with him as an overhang player, with him being potentially a spy and getting in those passing lanes, as well as being a force defender and stopping him escaping the pocket, I think Barnes could be that guy to really put pressure on McCarthy to deliver from the pocket. And when we're crushing the can from all sides, Barnes can be that extra guy to hit him. So, for me, that's the really key player on both sides of the ball for either team. Barnes is the one that can wreck it for me.
Oh, it's what Ivan Pace does for them. Ivan Pace is designed to be a blitzer who can get at you in no time at all. And Ivan Pace always seems to play well against us as well. Like, he saves his best for us. But I do agree. The only way the Vikings can beat us is if they can get the ball in the hands of their receivers. So you need to get to McCarthy quick enough. You hit him early and make him feel uncomfortable. That's what you do because he's injured. He's not fully healthy. You give him a few hits early on, you're gonna wreck his tempo, and more importantly, force that. If you can get a couple of scores early, force them to pass. The tackles are hurt, both of them. If you're putting them in a position where they're having to drop back every single play because they can't run the ball, you're going to break them. That interior, just put a bullseye on it. You're gonna overload them. Like you say, use Barnes as a late blitzer. Have guys blitz in the A gap, the B gap, putting pressure on these guys. You will break them. If the Chargers can get 30 pressures against this team, we can get 40 because of what we have at our disposal and what we're capable of doing. But that's what you've got to do. And you've got to give Jordan Mason no room to run whatsoever. Again, they need a rush game to even stand a chance of hanging with us. And that's one thing we've always been good at. Even Aaron Jones, when he was on top form with them when he first came, we always kept him in check enough to make him not an influence in the game against us. You've got to do that here at this point now. But I agree, Barnes could be a pivotal figure, but the most pivotal figure of all is always Amon Ra. Always Amon Ra. He's the one who completely nullifies any threat that Flores defense has against you. And they have to start backing off and they have to stop being as aggressive as they are, which allows you to run the football more. Just keep throwing it again and again. Because Goff, pretty sure. Hang on, let me have a look. Goff's stats against the Vikings, I reckon there's a lot of passing yards that he's going to have in these games because they try and stack up against the run and he's not able to they're not able to go against it. Jared Goff versus the Vikings is 7-3. Yeah, he's done numbers on this lot. His last 2 games, his completion percentage has been 88% and 82%. Like, the dude is uber efficient against them because he's got the playmakers that he needs.
Pretty crazy stats. The one other player that I'm interested in, and I'm not even sure if he's going to play, is Terrion Arnold. Because if you want to hang against the run game, as a corner, he might be the best run defense corner we have. Coverage is another issue with him. And I'm still going to be one of Terry and Arnold's biggest defenders in this team. In this space, even though I wasn't a massive fan of him coming out. I think he's a big improvement from someone like Nick Whiteside in run defense specifically, and I love Nick Whiteside and what he did last week. But I don't want to see him or Mollett or someone like that as a kind of starting corner. I don't know what Rock Yacin's status is, but you got Amik on one side, the other side. Could it be Hallett? Could it be Whiteside? Is it going to be Arnold who logs a full practice? If you have him back, that's a massive boost for our defense really does need to keep their run game in check, and I think they will, but that would be a big difference.
Of course it is. He's one of the best corners on the team, and I know the Legion of Whom did great in the last game, but the thing is, when it comes to the playoffs, when it comes to the really crunch games when you're going up against elite opposition all the time, Terrian has the physical attributes you need to combat that. He's just going through growing pains, and I don't understand people think, because if he plays in this game, he's going to be the one tasked with looking after Jefferson, because frankly, no one else on this, we saw what happened when Amik was paired up against was it a couple of weeks ago, absolutely destroyed him. Oh Christ.
Wait, against Kansas City?
It wasn't against Kansas, was it? Was the one he gave up 2 touchdowns just before?
The double move?
Yeah. Was that Kansas? That wasn't Kansas. Was that Mike Evans before he got injured?
No, I don't think so.
There was one where he got particularly brutalized.
Was it against the Bengals?
Oh, it was Chase.
Yeah,
when he was up against Chase at the Bengals. Amik, I love him, but Arnold's going to go up against Jefferson, and that's the tough assignment to come back off injury from. But at the end of the day, Arnold's the one with the upside. You've got to let him learn. You've got to let him live and learn, and that's the only way to go with it. So, but from the run defense perspective, having Branch back is big for that. He's big against the run, which is going to help us as well. And, he's got that chip on his shoulder, gives you that extra security at the back, and allows you to hopefully let Kirby miss another game and rest that knee up, because I don't really want Kirby to play in this game. I'm not going to lie.
Well, he hasn't practiced this week. I don't think he's going to
go. No. Again, we've been diced so much by this Minnesota team through the air in the past, and it never matters. So give him another week, figure it out, see what's what, and then go again afterwards. It's better to have him healthy long term than not, but, Amon-Ra is the key here for me. Like, he's the one guy who always beats them. He gets 100 yards, we're going to win.
Right. Before we have a look at the rest of the weekend's games, what do you think the score's going to be?
It's at Fourfield. I reckon we're looking at 42-13. We're going to win. I think we're going to blitz them out of the water. Minnesota have got the 4th worst run defense away from home. They give up 150 yards per game on average. And I told you about that absolute shite schedule they've had this year. They've not faced a rushing team like us yet. Maybe the Falcons, but the Falcons kept them down to 7 points. Because what did the Falcons do? Ran the football on them, won the time of possession battle, stopped Minnesota from really doing anything with the football. It's exactly the same thing we're going to do to them, except we've got a much better offense than the Falcons have, and we'll ruin them.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe we're going to absolutely ruin them.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why you're so conservative with the points.
Because, I'm getting old, and, my hot takey young self is... No, that's a lie, obviously. But
yes, it is.
I think, they will be feisty for a little bit, like all of them. I think they might come out, get an opening drive touchdown. Everyone goes, oh, they might have something against you. Kelvin will adapt. We'll get the run game going, and we'll slowly go away. But that team is too beaten up to hang with us, in my opinion. Both your tackles are hurt. Your quarterback's just coming off injury. Your star defender's just coming off injury. You're in our house. You've proven that you can't hang with us physically in the past. We're going to beat you down again. And I think mentally we're just going to absolutely erode them.
How's this for a score prediction?
Oh, Lord. He's going to put a 50 burger up or something.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
60-24.
What's the over-under on this game?
48.
Are you about to how many?
48.
So you're about doubling that, like
Oh yeah,
nearly.
yeah,
You're nearly doubling. Matt's over under is 90.
yeah. I can't even see the line on the over under. I'm way beyond it. I
So
think
you're
we'll
not
get
hitting.
there. I think we'll get there by ourselves.
So you're not hitting the under, and you're not hitting Minnesota to cover.
No, sir. No way. No chance. No how. And
No, sir, not me. I'm
just.
proud of you. You're out shit talking me at the minute, and I'm proud.
I mean, at the end of the day, all I'm saying is we are carving the headstone on the on the Vikings season. We are burying them, and they are not getting out of it. This is it for them.
No.
And I just look forward to TJ Hawkinson being traded to a team who might actually win some games. Maybe he has that to look forward to.
Maybe they'll trade him to the Bears. The Bears love stockpiling tight ends.
Yes, they do.
Circle of life. They could trade Komet for Hawkinson, and they could just do a little. Well, the tight ends love going around the NFL. Tonyan's been to every NFC North team. Why can't Hawk?
Maybe, but Tonyan actually got shit, though. That's part of that problem. You could see how much Rodgers made Tonyan when Tonyan left, and he was no one from then on.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. It's one of those where it only works with one guy.
Yeah.
Some players only work with one guy, and that's it.
And then some tight ends are Mercedes Lewis, who are having workouts at 41 fucking years old.
He's just a legend. Even I love Mercedes Lewis, and he's just like, he's Packers legend. But and the thing is, he's just all he's done his entire career is block. Like he's just like 10 years ago, Dan Campbell would have loved Mercedes Lewis. He probably still love him now. To be fair, all he does is block, 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 block. It's a running joke when Mercedes Lewis has a catch. Like the man just blocks for his teammates.
He does.
He has done.
I will say, by the way,
life bar give to his teammates, and I love that about him.
Played 229 games, Mercedes Lewis, in 19 seasons.
And he had like 30 receptions. Unless he had some when he was younger. But certainly in his last 10 years, he's probably had about a reception a year.
Oh, yeah, with the Packers, he has had 57 receptions. But in his career, he's had 437 receptions.
Oh, God, really?
Okay, so you called him a Packers legend. He has played more than double the number of games he's played for the Packers for a different team. Do you know who he played for originally?
I want to say Raiders, but I think I'm wrong there.
No, he was drafted in the first round, 28th overall in the 2006 NFL draft by this team.
Fuck's sake.
Played for them between 2006 and 2017. Played for them for 12 seasons.
Bloody hell.
He played 170 games for this team.
Jesus. Bengals was the second one that came to me.
No. One of the younger franchises who have a habit of playing a shit game over here every single fucking year.
Oh, what, the Jags?
He is a career Jag. 12 seasons with the Jags, 5 with Green Bay, 2 with Chicago.
Wait, who the hell did we even draft in 2006? Was that the year that we got... was it the receiver?
I'll tell you in 2 seconds. We had the 9th... In 2006, we had the 9th overall pick, and we picked someone who did not work out for us particularly well.
Was it... It was the receiver, wasn't it? Was it Roydell Williams or whatever it was?
No. This is Jay Cutler's draft class. It's Haloti Nasser's draft class. We only have one first-round pick.
I think Haloti and Garter is Hall of Fame eligible. Haloti and Garter now.
Yeah. Jay Cutler was picked after our pick at 9 overall. He was picked 11th. The other players in this draft, it went Mario Williams at 1, Reggie Bush at 2, Vince Young at 3, DeBrickshaw Ferguson at 4, A.J. Hawk to the Packers at 5, Vernon Davis at 6.
Imagine taking a linebacker at 5.
Can you imagine taking a linebacker at 9 as the Detroit Lions?
Oh, shit.
I have his jersey. I have his jersey.
You do?
I do.
It was, Oh,
Played
Christ.
for the Lions for 4 seasons, played for us for 59 games. His career flamed out pretty much after us. He was fine, but he wasn't great.
Oh.
Lions career 59 games, 1 interception, 5 passes defended, 4 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 2.5 sacks, 421 tackles in 4 seasons.
Jesus Christ. That's not very good. I'm not going to get it. I can't remember.
Ernie Sims.
That's Ernie Sims. It's the not good Sims.
They're not good Sims. Yeah, I got his jersey anyway because
And
I
yet
found it
Mercedes
cheap.
Lewis is still playing.
Alive and kicking. Right.
God.
Let's talk about the rest of the weekend slate. And we start with Thursday night football. It is Thursday night. This game kicks off in about an hour and 20 minutes' time. It's a battle of 2 win teams with the Ravens playing the Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock. Ravens with Lamar feel like they need to get on a bit of a roll. Won last week, but so did the Dolphins, and Tua actually looked good. The whole Miami team looked good last week. This is
Doesn't it
low
kick off in 15? It doesn't kick off in 15 minutes. Aren't we
kick.
still an hour in front?
Sorry, you're right. We're an hour back. So yeah, it kicks off in 15 minutes. I tell you what, as about a 2 win teams through 8 weeks, this is about as exciting as it gets because Miami actually looked good from last week, and the Ravens look like they're going to get ahead of steam. So I don't know what to pick here. It feels too easy to just say, well, the Ravens need the win more than Miami because Miami are fucked either way. Whereas the Ravens apparently, according to the NFL, have a 55% chance of making the playoffs.
See, the Ravens, they're in a shit division. Like any other competent division, they'd be out of it by now.
Yeah.
But because they're just with a group of dross, they can still win that conference pretty easy.
Yes, they can.
See, this is tough for me because I'm on hate watch on both teams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on hate watch on Baltimore because I want them to have to tank and their Super Bowl window be over. But I'm on hate watch for Miami because I've invested that much hate in them. I need them to be bad. So, which one do I hate the least? And my answer is I don't. I hate them both equally. So, tie? I think a tie would be wonderful in this.
It
I
would ruin both seasons. It would be very
it
funny.
would. I think a tie would be wonderful. It's not going to. Baltimore will win, and I think Baltimore will probably win pretty comfortably. I think the Dolphins just again the Dolphins met the schizophrenic Falcons. We got the bad version of them last week. They will probably win this week again now or whenever they next play. They're split personality disorder, and you met the bad side last week. They're just who they are at this point.
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens too. Next up, we're into the 1 o'clock slate. Along with the Lions Vikings game, we have Bears at Bengals. Bears 4-3, Bengals 3-5. Looks like Flacco is trending towards playing, but he's going to be banged up. Hendrickson left the game last week. For the Bears, not a great performance and a loss, but the sky fell in again for them somehow, even though I thought Caleb looked fine. Is he living up to his number one pick legendary status? No. Is he passable? Is he operating the offense? Yes. Is he the reason the Bears are losing games sometimes? Probably not. This is a super weird game because you know what? Flacco at times has looked legitimately really good. So I have no idea on this game.
Do the Bears have their secondary back? Because I know Stevenson and Thingy were both out last week, weren't they? I don't. If they're missing their secondary, they're going to struggle against the receivers. But it literally pains me to say this because I hate the Bears more than anybody in existence. I despise the franchise. I despise every single little thing about them. But I do always keep my neutral glasses on with them, even despite the fact that I hate them. They look better than the Bengals right now. Not gonna lie, they look better than the Bengals. Ben has Chicago playing good football. And the Bengals are just a dumpster fire of a mess right now. I actually think the Bears will win this by a score or two. And it literally pains me to say that because I want them to lose every week. So that's very hard for me to admit. But I just don't think the Bengals are that. And I think it'll run out. Flacco magic always runs out and it goes, Flacco goes flaccid. This will probably happen this week.
I have the Bears, but I think it will be a competitive game. I'm looking forward to watching it in a bit of a sicko hate watch type mentality. But hey,
Oh yeah, I always hate watch the Bears no matter what they're playing. Always hate.
talking about hate watch, at least for one team, Panthers at Packers. Panthers 4-4 after fucking shitting a brick last week. Against the Packers 5-1-1, leading the NFC. Oh God, please let the Panthers win this game. They lost 40-9 against the Bills, a Bills team who can't defend the run. And what can the Panthers do really well? Run the ball. So how did they lose 40-9? I do not know. The Packers are wearing their 1923 throwback uniforms.
They
Apparently.
stole the helmets from Illinois. I'm just going to say that right now. They stole the helmets from Illinois. So
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think it looks awful. I
the
think
team from they look
they
like baseball helmets. They're like basketball helmets. They look like they've hollowed out a basketball and stuck it on their head.
I was going to
I'm
say
just
a
gonna
baseball mitt, actually, but whatever. I think they look like the
I'm
Bears.
I'm gonna say, and yeah, they've stolen it from a team in Illinois. They're from Wisconsin. They should not be doing that. But besides the point, I'm gonna put this on record. I think they are the ugliest helmets in existence. Period.
Agree.
I think they're absolutely disgusting.
They look like they're wearing decking on their head.
Hmm. Yeah. They
Uh,
look like they're playing baseball in the 1910s or something like that when they had those weird little fucking fuzzy things on when they were going up to at bat.
the Packers are low-key playing very poorly, despite coming on strong in the fourth quarter last week. I don't think the Packers are a good team. The Panthers are not a good team, but they're frisky at the right times. McMillan has been incredible. Rico Dowdle has been very good. If they can get the offense rolling, I think the Panthers can keep it to within one score, but I do have the Packers to win this game.
The Panthers have split personality, but their more dominant personality is the bad personality.
Yes, it is.
That's what I'm going. They're more bad than good when the and I don't know if this is the week when the good personality is, but they are coming off getting the hides handed to them, which would make me think that maybe they'll be better this week. I think it'll be competitive. I think the Packers will win by one score. I don't know what's the is there a betting line for it or
Oh
sorry,
my.
did you say?
I haven't set a betting line, but I can bring one up. The betting line is 13-point favourite Packers.
Oh, screw that. The Panthers will cover. Easy doors. But Panthers will cover that.
If you say so. I'm going with a cover as well, but we'll see. Anyway, here's a game where we can spend 30 seconds on it. Chargers at Titans. 5-3 Chargers off a very impressive win against the Minnesota Vikings, against the Tennessee Titans, who threatened teams for a quarter before falling away. Cam Ward is getting no help from anyone. Not running game, not receiving game, not offensive line. Dude's a lamb to the slaughter. The Chargers do have a habit of charging, though, in these situations, despite Keenan Allen looking good and Tuitu Pelosi looking good, Diane Henley looking good. Like, the Chargers team just looks good kind of across the board, and yet this is exactly the sort of game they're going to struggle in. I still have the Chargers to win the game, but I think it'll be closer than most people expect.
This Titans team is an offense to football. It's it's awful. I mean, this year alone, like the amount of time, I don't think they've passed 20 points twice, maybe three times. Like they've given Cam Ward absolutely nothing to work with. They're just letting the poor kid go out there. He's going to go through the Bryce Young arc. Everyone's going to write him off as a bust year one because they give him nothing. He looks terrible. Everyone says he's a bust, and it depends on how the team backs him up in years to come. They have been an offense to football since Mike Vrabel was there. They have been offensive to offensive football since as long as I can remember at this point. They're just a disgusting franchise who just do nothing good on that side of the ball. They're a bad team. Like you say, the Chargers can charge you. Could they charge you this game? Potentially. I just don't see it. Like the Titans have had nothing in recent games. I mean, what have they put up in their last few games? 13, 10. 22 against the Cardinals, but then 0. Like, you got 23 points combined in 3 of your last 4 games. Not even getting 8 points per game, not even getting a converted 2-point touchdown a game. That kind of shows you where they're at.
Yeah. Right, next one, and I'm just going to pop away for 2 minutes after I lay this one up for you, so filibuster for a moment if you come to the end of what you're saying. Atlanta Falcons 3-4 against the New England Patriots 6-2. The schizophrenic Atlanta Falcons who can't decide whether they're going to beat some of the NFL's best or lose to the NFL's worst against Drake May's New England Patriots. Drake May, who has a higher passer rating than any single season Tom Brady has ever had at New England. They still haven't really given the ball to the right running back, the Patriots, but they're winning games. They're, I think, for me, the favourites to win that division over the Bills, the way they're playing right now. But the Falcons can beat anyone. Like, legitimately, I think if I had them, that they are the any given Sunday team. If they were facing the Titans, and if they were facing... Who's the best team in the league right now?
Us.
It's us. It's maybe the Chiefs. I don't know. But they could win or lose to any of those teams. So, God help me, I don't know what's happening, and I'll be back in 2 minutes.
See, this is exactly the sort of game where the split personality Falcons are going to come to the fore. Like, they'll win this game. And I've genuinely been very positive about the Patriots this year. I had the Patriots beating the Bills when they did beat the Bills, and everyone scorned at me and laughed and said, oh, no, they're not going to. Mike Vrabel has given them a spine very quickly, and he's built that team. He's certainly ahead of schedule with where it should be. He's bringing out the best in Drake May. Drake May is proving to be as clutch as they come. Like, up till a few weeks ago, his fourth quarter stats were absolutely insane. They're better than video game numbers, what he's throwing when it comes to the crunch time in the fourth quarter, which is amazing. It's just as Matt said, the Falcons are a very hit and miss team. They missed badly last week. They want Raheem Morris gone, but on their day, when Bijan and Aligier get going, when that defense, which they've invested a lot of money into, can make a few stops and they can play complementary football, they can beat anyone in the league. And the Patriots, it feels like the Patriots are ahead of where they're at the moment. So when teams are kind of ahead of schedule and playing really well, we forget that and we think they're really good and they're not quite as good and they're going to come back down a notch and anyone can bring them down that notch and we realize, okay, they're a good team, but this is where they're at. The Patriots are not meant to be this high right now. I don't think they're up there right now. I think they're about here. So for me, I do have the Falcons winning this one, but I hope the Patriots win. It's just the way this season's gone and what this Falcons team have shown me believe that this is going to be the one where where they come and bring this up. I will just filibuster a minute while Matt comes back. Trade deadline, we're talking about Tuesday with Ken. Yeah, I mean, we'll see after this weekend. The trade deadline never hots up until the game's been played before the deadline because simply some teams' seasons are on the line. Some teams don't know whether they're going to sell yet. Sometimes some teams might, sometimes might not. So as soon as these games are done, we'll see the trade deadline do. But I would like us to be active this year. I don't think we will, but hey ho. I've just said I think the Falcons' split personality is going to come to the fore and they're going to win. Purely because, again, I had the Patriots beating the Bills, but the Patriots are up here right now, and Vrabel's got them playing really well, and I think they're a team that's about here. They're a team that's outperforming expectations, and we forget that, and they will get to bring back down to earth. That's where I'm at with it.
I think a lot of this game hinges on whether Drake London goes. Out last week, massive part of that Falcons offense. If he doesn't go, I think it's decisively in the Patriots' favour. If he does, I mean, with Bijan and London, you can do anything on offense. So I'm taking the Pats. And I know that that's the favoured team anyway, but they're just playing so bloody good right now. I won't be surprised when we come to the end of it all if the Patriots are the number one seed in the AFC. If they
could.
So they're playing the Falcons, Bucks, Jets, Bengals, Giants, Bills, Ravens, Jets, Dolphins. That is a cake walk of a schedule as far as it goes. Hard teams in there at Buccaneers versus Bills, and then when they need it, even though it's not a great team right now, at Ravens. The rest of it is Jets twice, Dolphins, at Bengals with no quarterback. Giants is interesting, but they're probably better than it. And then Dolphins to finish a season.
It's the fourth place schedule inflation. Like, a team can look really good, but look at the schedule. Look at the Bears. The Bears are playing a fourth place schedule for the fourth year in a row, and they're playing the AFC North, which just happens to be shite this year. Like, they've gotten really lucky, and they look really good, but they're not, because they've not got the greatest schedule in the world either. So
yeah,
and I think the Pats have got obviously they beat the Bills, which is tremendous. I wouldn't worry about them. They've beaten the Bills once already. They know how to beat them. Like, the Bills play flashy football. They play tough football. The Patriots play really tough football, and the Bills can't necessarily deal with it sometimes. So,
especially when they're banged up, that defense is terrible. The Bills are in such trouble.
I'm surprised they've not gone to the trade deadline, to the market yet. I would have thought they'd be a team, because they are in the latter stages of their window, whether they like it or not. They've been around the forefront for so long that, like Baltimore, they're going to start falling away eventually. You figure this is where you've got to put it in, because the Chiefs are not all conquering right now. I guess this game at the weekend's a very big one for them because of who they're playing.
The Bills?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get there. All right, we're still on the 1 o'clock slate. 49ers at Giants. 49ers off a bad loss to the Houston Texans, where they were all at sea. Bad matchup for them, though, I do think, against the Texans. Against the Giants team that I have found myself really pulling for them because of the way that they play. The way Scat went out with his broken ankle is awful. But I have become a Jackson Dart lover. Like, he's just a fun player to watch, and the way he gets so visibly angry on the sideline is just quite entertaining to me. I'm not saying I want them to win games, but like, the Giants are a fun team all of a sudden, and I'm taking the 49ers, but I'm watching this game.
Yeah, you never know what you're getting with the 49ers. Obviously, again, they've had their own injury issues as well. Kittle's back now. I think like he could be the deciding factor in this. I mean, it'll be tough. I mean, I think it's the line's reasonable, 2.5-point road favourites for the 49ers. Sounds about right. Oh, you just feel like the 49ers are not there. The Giants are not there yet to beat a team like the 49ers. Even though they're in the situation they're at, the Giants just feel frisky this year. But ultimately, kind of like us in year one with Dan, we'll take a lot of teams down to the wire, but we'll just kind of not have what it takes to get that last little bit done on them. So I can see them. Maybe the Giants cover, they lose by a point or something. I could see a scenario where that happens. I think it'll be close, but I'm with you. I think 49ers will just win.
All right. The first game in the entire slate so far against two plus 500 teams. It's the Colts at the Steelers. The 7-1 Colts against the 4-3 Steelers. Ugh. I still don't believe in the Colts. I'm not going to believe in the Colts. Even if they win the Super Bowl, I'm still convinced they're not a good team, and I don't care. But you know what? I am less convinced about the Steelers. So here's the thing about the Colts. Their offensive line is good, and Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in football right now. Jonathan Taylor is ridiculous, and everyone forgot the last couple of years exactly who he is. And you know what the Steelers team can't do? Defend anything. So
play football.
Yeah. Daniel Jones is going to have a career day. And Jonathan Taylor is going to break 1,000 yards rushing in this game. And it's only going to be game 9. If he has 150 yards, he breaks 150 rushing yards. And he's going to break 150 rushing yards. Sorry. So, yeah. I'll say it right now. Jonathan Taylor's going for 2,000.
I mean, that's rich, but
It,
possible.
including playoffs. Including playoffs.
Put it this way, Aaron Rodgers is a relic. Indianapolis Jones, what does he does as a job? He hunts relics. That's what he does. He finds them, ensnares them, defeats them. That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna win. And I like the Steelers. I like them when they draft anyhow. I don't like them right now, but I like the Steelers draft room. So I always am inherently a little biased towards them, but even I think the Colts are gonna roll over them. Literally
It's funny
roll over
because
them.
Rodgers has shown more juice than I thought he had this season. Like, I genuinely think he's been much better than I thought he could be. So, I don't think the Steelers are dead on arrival, at least not because of him. And that pains me to say. But how on earth have the Steelers got the most expensive defense in football and they can't play fucking defense? Like, what
It's
has
crazy
happened?
because for the last what feels like a decade, it's been the defense that's carried that team every single year without fail. I think that defense has now got it's just full of beaten up old vets who have spent years carrying this team, and I think they've finally been broken.
Mm,
You think there's a lot of players in there who've been on this team for a lot of years who've just taken endless punishment again and again and again and again, and they've had to cycle through a CFL roster's worth of quarterbacks who play at the CFL level if they're lucky. I just think it's just the tread's all gone off it now, and they need to rebuild it from scratch. They've got some positive youngsters in there, but the main guys who've held it together all these years have finally been broken, and that's where they're at with it, and it's a shame. I will make a hot take. I think eventually DK Metcalf is going to lose his cool and twat someone. That might be this week because, he's getting touchdowns and stats, but he's not getting wins. That team's going to implode eventually. In fact, DK hits Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to say something like that. They're going to fall out big time.
I agree. They are going to fall out big time. What's hilarious about DK Metcalf is he left the Seahawks and they got better.
Yeah, who'd have thought that? Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing. He jumped ship at the wrong time. Right, we're still in the 1 o'clock slate. The last 1 o'clock game is the 6-2 Broncos traveling to a Texans team at 3-4, which has suddenly found its rhythm after a nice win against the San Francisco 49ers. ESPN has this as a pretty much dead heat 50-50 game. Having a look at the betting odds, if I can find the right place for it, which I can't. Where the bloody hell is it? There it is. Denver are 11-10, and the Houston Texans are 5-4 on. In terms of spread, that means that the Houston Texans are 1.5 point favourites. And you know what? I agree. I'm taking the Texans by a score because I think that the Broncos are going to struggle against the Texans defense across the board. Nix is not playing as well as he did last year, low key. Offensive line is doing a reasonable job protecting him, but they ain't faced Will Anderson feeling like this. And Danielle Hunter on the other side. And the DBs are fucking great across the board for Houston. They've come to play, and yeah, the Broncos up front are incredible on defense, and Houston are not great on the offensive line, but Stroud's kind of found a bit of a rhythm again.
You know what's shocking about this? You have a game that features Bo Nix and CJ Stroud, and it has the second lowest over-under of the weekend. And the only game below that is the Jets and the Browns. I mean, let that sink in for a minute. That's rightly so, but a sub 40-point betting line for Bo Nix and CJ Stroud, the two wonder phenoms who just threw for everything and put up big, high scoring, high octane offenses, and they don't even have them going to 40 points in a game against one another. I think that reinforces your opinion that they think that these two defenses are just too good and are just going to absolutely null anything thrown against one another. The Jets and the Browns, I understand. That over-under could probably be about 15 and they might struggle to beat it. But the Texans and the Broncos, that's crazy. It feels like the Strouds have taken. It feels like the Strouds are starting to hit their stride now.
Jets Browns is next week, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, so is that the lowest
It's
over
the
under this
lowest
week
over
then?
under of the
Oh,
week.
I've gone too far.
You've gone too far.
It, all right. So would you ever, if you were told, true or false, the lowest over under of an NFL weekend is going to feature C.J. Stroud and Bo Nix as quarterbacks? Would you say agree? Of course you wouldn't, would you?
No.
Exactly not. That's crazy. The Strouds will win.
It's such a bold call with a sub 500 team against a 6-2 team as well, but it just feels like a good matchup for Houston. Anyway, next one. We're into the afternoon slate now. 4:05 kickoff. Jags at Raiders. Jags 4-3, but look like a bit of a broken team against the Raiders 2-5, who are definitely a broken team. Betting is 3-point favourites in favour of the Jags. 44.5 point over under. I'm just playing this one straight. It's the Jags in the worst game of the week.
Where are we at? Hang on, sorry, we're doing Raiders game, yeah.
Jags Raiders, yeah, at Allegiant.
Oh, that's gonna be it. I mean, for my fantasy team, I hope the Raiders win. Um, but I don't know. I could flip a coin for this one. I want the Raiders to win just before Ashton, just so Ashton Johnny can do well. Speaking of which, you know my fantasy football team won with 3 starters this week, and that was it. My entire like the Lions defense, kicker, Jameson Williams, my running back was out. I had Justin Herbert and Tucker Kraft and Zach Ertz.
Wow.
And Kraft went for 150 and 2 tutties, and Herbert wrecked the Vikings. And my opponent had his entire team in.
Oh my god.
I got told off by my league commissioner for not fielding a quote unquote unrealistic team and not competitive team. I just sent him a message going, "Excuse me, what was that you were saying?" But anyhow, back to the thing. Just the Raiders, because I want Giante to do well.
Fair
I'll
enough.
lose this week with a full team. I've got no one on bye this week, so I'm going to lose.
Right, another one on the 4:05 slate. Why is this one on the 4:05 slate? God only knows. At SoFi, Saints 1 win. New Orleans Saints against the LA Rams 5-2. Saints in a battle with the Tennessee Titans for the number 1 overall pick. They don't want to win this game, and they're starting Tyler Shook against the LA Rams, who are not starting Tyler Shook. Rams by 3 scores conservatively. I would say the betting is a 14-point spread.
You think the Saints in this slot are bad? The Raiders are Thursday night football next week.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, how in God's name are the Raiders Thursday night football? They're playing the Broncos. Like, come on, man. You're going to do better than that. I'm going to go one bigger. I'm going to say 4 score to the Rams. Like, the Saints are awful. Like, they're worse than awful. They're so bad. Like, yeah, I can't say anything worse about them. Obviously, in terms of Tyler Shook, I hope Tyler Shook does well. Like, I would be on record as saying I would like him to throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns and have a reasonably clean game. But the Rams are going to wreck them completely and utterly.
All right. We are in the last game in the afternoon slate, the slightly later one, and I would say the game of the week. AFC heavyweight matchup, already alluded to by Ant. 2 5-win teams in Orchard Park, New York. Chiefs 5-3, best team in football in my opinion at the moment, against the Buffalo Bills 5-2 off a 31-point win against the Panthers. I ain't saying a word about this. And what do you think?
This is this is impossible hate watch territory for me. Like, I have invested years hating on the Bills, but I hate the Chiefs just as much. Can both teams lose? Like, can we do that? Or like a meteor strike or something like that? My heart is telling me off the bat. Oh, what is it? No, I don't.
I'll tell you what the betting is
I
first.
don't.
The Chiefs are 1.5-point favourites away.
What do I not want more?
This is also not the highest over-under of the weekend at 52.5 points. It is second.
Wow. See, genuinely how it works, and this is how it always works. The Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season, and then when it comes to the playoff game and it really matters, the Chiefs always beat the Bills. So by going logically, the Bills are gonna win. But I think I hate, and I don't know why I hate Buffalo so much. Because they're a team like us and you want them to do well. Ugh. Maybe it's Tony Romo's incessant irking off of Josh Allen and whatnot, but
What, and
something's
not his
drawing me.
irking off of Patrick Mahomes? Like,
Yeah. Something's pulling me towards the Chiefs here. For some reason, I want the Bills to lose more, and I don't know why I shouldn't. I've just got this hatred in me of the Bill. I don't know whether it just comes to me and you arguing over them so much over the years, and I'm so far ingrained on my side of the wall now that I just want them to be bad to prove a point.
so the thing is,
It can be so petulant over
oh,
time.
it can be. The thing is, I've been a believer in the Bills, but I've never been a supporter of the Bills. I don't want the Bills to win. I do believe in their build, and I do think that I like what the GM has done over the years. This is such a weird matchup because you've got the Bills team and a defense that can't stop the run, and a Kansas City side that I think still has Patrick Mahomes leading the team in rushing. So, like, the Bills' biggest weakness is probably not going to be exploited by Kansas City. Okay, well, can the Bills' pass defense hold up against the Kansas City pass offense? I think it probably can a little bit, at least more than we did. I don't think I don't know. I'm taking the Bills in a coin flip. Like, I want the Bills to win because I hate the Chiefs more, but I think the Bills will win because they're at home, and that's the biggest cop-out I can do.
You know what? Actually, I do want the Chiefs. I've kind of realised I don't know why I didn't think of this before, because obviously this comes back to the whole Lions thing. I don't want the Lions to become the Buffalo Bills, in that the Bills have this irredeemable belief that next year's always their year. Like, you remember when they lost 2 years ago when they had the Chiefs at home?
Yeah.
The Chiefs had to go through Baltimore and Buffalo to get to that game. That was the one year where they had to win it to beat this Chiefs dynasty, and they shit the bed. But all I heard was, oh, Buffalo's going to be a good team next year. It doesn't matter. And I don't want to be that team where we start dismissing results of going, it doesn't matter. We've got our core under contract for 10 years. Yes, but at some point, you've got to break the glass ceiling and go and win it. And for me, the Bills are a representation of what I don't want the Lions to be. I don't want me and you to be here in 4 years going, next year's our year. We've still got Amon-Ra. We've still got Penny. We've still got these guys. Let's do it next year. I don't want us to become what the Bills are. And so for that reason, I want these long builds to fail to prove a point. So yes, I'm being very petulant at the end of the day, but I just think they think that they've got this. While ever Josh Allen's there, they're going to be competitive, and I think it's the wrong attitude to have. Like, they should be strengthening that defense now, should they not? Not just it's next year, you've got to fix that defense, and you've got to try and get something in to fix it. Ed Oliver's hurt, and without him, they're nothing without Ed Oliver. I don't want to be that type of team.
No, that's fair. I think it's one of those things where the Bills come in waves with their team. When they first started this build, they paid people like Von Miller to come in and be that sort of free agency guy. They thought would get them over the top. It didn't work out. They've kind of had a competitive rebuild. I think they'll go again and kind of put pedals to the metal maybe next year, because they went all in on the team, but they didn't have to do a hard reset to transition, and it meant that they could still be competitive through it. And I think that's been super impressive to watch. That's one of the reasons why I like what they've done, is they kind of bridge the gap between pushing it hard like the Rams did for their Super Bowl and not having to trade Josh Allen to stay afloat afterwards.
See, has Josh Allen played in an AFC Championship game yet?
Yes.
Has he played one?
He played Kansas City and lost. I'm pretty sure about that.
Because isn't the thing that him and Lamar have never been to a Super Bowl?
No, neither of them have been to a Super Bowl because it's always been the Chiefs.
Yeah, and then you have some left field team that will come in and steal one off you, and it's just a guarantee because everyone loves to talk about the long build and having the big window. There's positives and negatives to both, but people seem to just ignore negatives about the long build. They've had Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson for a combined, 12 seasons now? 13, 14 seasons? And neither of them has been to a Super Bowl. That's pretty damning.
Yes, it is.
It's just been the Chiefs knocking round there.
So the Bills were in the Conference Championship in 2020 and 2024, losing to the Chiefs both times. First year in January 21, 38-24. And then in the most recent season, January 25, lost 32-29 after leading going into the fourth quarter. The Chiefs, meanwhile, since 2018, have been in the Conference Championship every year. Conference Championship loss in 2018 and 2021, and then they've been in every Super Bowl apart from that since.
And Mahomes has had what I think we can agree some not great teams to get him there. Like the Ravens feel like they've been stacked for years now, and they have kind of put some money into it as well. And they've still not gotten there.
Touchdown for the Baltimore Ravens. Mark Andrews on 4th down in the red zone after the Ravens forced a fumble on the Dolphins. Score at the moment is 6-3 pending the PAT. Miami did score a field goal and then forced the Ravens to punt. So frustrating.
Hanging tough.
Yeah. We've still got 2 more games to go. Sunday Night Football. Seahawks at Commanders. Seahawks 5-2. Commanders 3-5. Seahawks 3-point favourites away. 48-point over/under. Commanders have Jaden Daniels playing in this game, but Seahawks have another reclamation project at quarterback who looks absolutely amazing. I'm taking Seahawks.
Yeah, something's not right with the Commanders this year. I thought they were going to have an us season like last year. Like they'd follow our trajectory. I think they'd win a bunch of games in the season and then they get to the playoffs and then they get bounced instantly because they'd be adjusting to that new level of competition. But they're not adjusting to. I think they overachieved so much last year. Like they really, really overachieved. And I think they've probably regressed to where they probably should have been if they'd have had a normal year like last year.
Yeah.
It feels like the Seahawks are having a little bit of, they're hitting their renaissance period at the moment. So I feel like they could be the one. And Smith-Njigba's on some form of historic tear at the minute, I believe, or he's on pace to have some form of historic tear. But you could argue he's the most informed receiver in the NFL right now. I feel like it. I could be lying out my ass, but I feel like he's been on an absolute tear recently.
He has been on a tear. Receiving leaders this season, he has 819 yards. That's number 1 in the NFL. Next is Jamar Chase with 720, so he's 99 yards ahead of anyone else. George Pickens is next with 685.
Bloody hell.
I tell you what, that trade for Dallas is looking better and better the more it ages. Puka Nakua's in 4th with 616. That's over 200 behind Smith-Njigba, and then Justin Jefferson's 5th with 602.
Injured, hasn't he? Puka's been hurt.
Yeah, he has.
I think Puka was on record to break all records early in the season before he got hurt.
Yeah, I think he was. All right, last one, Monday Night Football. 2-5 Cardinals. Kyler Murray hurt. Don't know if he's going to play, but he definitely didn't turn up to a media interview today against the 3-4-1 Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to be
Is that Monday
complimentary
Night Football?
because it's Dallas. I'm going to be complimentary about Dallas. They are better than I thought they'd be. And I'm not going to be complimentary about Arizona. I was right in the preseason. They're trash. I'm taking Dallas, and I don't feel bad about it. Javonte Williams is who I thought he was, and I am here for his revival.
Wow, 54.5 line. They're
Yeah,
expecting
it's
lots of
insane, isn't
points.
it? There's no defense on either side of the ball, though.
Stat Prescott. That's it. We're going to see Stat Prescott again.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to do it when it doesn't really matter, and then he's going to wilt when it does. Even me, and I like the Cardinals more than others because of Kyler. Even I think the Cowboys will probably win this one. But it would be so funny if they lost. But
Oh, it'd be hilarious.
again, Monday Night Football is Cardinals, Cowboys. Thursday Night Football is Raiders, Broncos. Like, what are we
Thursday
doing?
Night Football next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, 2 primetime games in a row.
Just
Which
rubbish.
is absolute boulder dash, as they would as they would say. And then you got the Steelers Chargers next Sunday Night Football. Ugh.
2 gritty teams.
Eagles Packers will be fun. We can hate watch the Packers big time then.
I don't know who I want to win that game. As much as I hate the Packers.
If you pick anything other than the Eagles, then I will be shocked, because your hate watch on the Packers puts any of my hate watches to shame, and I hate hard.
Yeah, but the Packers legitimately...
You hate the Packers like you hate Scott Daly. Long snapper joke!
Tell me this, though. Do you think the Packers are a good team? Because I think that's not an easy question to answer.
I think that if you were to say a scale of good to bad, I think they're 65 to 35 good. And I think 65 is like a slightly above average team. I think they're slightly above average.
I agree with
I'm going to give them their due. I think 65-35 good. I think we're 90 to 10. I think we're a lot better.
Packers being 5-1-1 is so flattering.
The Packers caught us cold week 1. They can say all they like. I think all the evidence to the contrary shows they caught us cold. And that's it. We played them again tomorrow. We would kick their ass. I can't wait for... Is it Thanksgiving when we play them?
I don't know.
I cannot wait to get my hands on them again. Everyone... And don't anyone ever root for Aaron Rodgers against the Packers. Don't root for anybody against the Packers. We will hand them that one loss we need to get back in front of them.
Yeah,
we do our business.
It is Thanksgiving. By the way, Thanksgiving, I am not here watching the game. I'm not doing a stream because I have a work commitment, which is fucking me off. So if you want to do a stream and you're around on Thanksgiving, that would be great.
Oh, I'll hate watch the Packers all day long.
Please do.
I'll hate watch them. We usually split with the Packers, so we're due a win. So, hey ho.
So yeah, Packers is Thanksgiving game. Let me just see what else the Packers have on their slate. So 5-1-1. They're playing the Panthers next. That's a win. We've both picked that. 6-1-1. They're versus Eagles, at Giants, versus Vikings, at Lions, versus Bears, at Broncos, at Bears, versus Ravens, at Vikings. So I count it as toss up against the Eagles, beat at the Giants, beat Vikings, lose at Lions, beat Bears. At Broncos is a toss up. At Bears is a win for the Packers. Versus Ravens is a loss. And at Vikings is probably a win. So 6... The toss-ups I'll give 50-50. So Eagles and Ravens I'll split. So 7-1-1, 8-1-1, 9-1-1, 9-2-1, 10-2-1, 10-3-1, 11-3-1, 12-3-1, 13-3-1.
I've got them somewhere up there as well.
Shit. This is not that level of team. It's just not.
No, they've just got an easy schedule for some reason, despite finishing second last year.
I hate it so much.
I mean, the Bears could beat them. Beats Bears. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
And with that excellent Office reference, we are going to head off. And anything you want to say before we head off?
Not really. Oh. No, I'm gonna. You know what? Because it's early, I'm gonna watch this Dolphins Baltimore game and then go to bed. But nothing more to add other than we're gonna absolutely hump the Vikings this week, and that Purple Brigade can shut up again. I've never been more confident of a win in my life.
All right, college football podcast aired just before this one. And remind us what you talked about.
Just a review of Week 9 and a very brief look ahead to Week 10. And we also did some stuff about the 2026 high school recruiting class and other bits as well. It's in 2 parts because my internet cut off halfway through, but do check them both out.
Brian Kelly, new head coach of Michigan State? No?
That'd be funny. Oh, I don't think they'll get rid of him just yet.
We'll see. All right. Main podcast, we'll be doing a Vikings-Lions watch-along. That is going to be 5 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Eastern, so do come and join us for that. Game review on Monday, and then who do the Lions have next? We've got the Commanders in the late slate
just for the
next
record,
week.
it is the 6 o'clock kickoff this weekend because the hour does go back there.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So it's 6 o'clock like normal, so yeah. I mean, you can go at 5, but you'll be sat there waiting for an hour.
I'm sure that I can have fun with the live audience, maybe.
Their hour goes back this weekend, so why y'all can't just do it at the same time as us? Because you've got to have your own stuff, but you know.
Right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you on Sunday for the Vikings-Lions game. You know where our socials are. I won't bore you with it. We'll see you soon. And cheers for doing this for me, man. Let's go Lions, one pride.
Go Air Force, beat Army. See ya, Brent.
Recording stopped.
Oh, man, I can't.